first opened the Refuge, which was in 1971 in Chiswick in London, almost as soon as I took the women in, I got a house for men. And because I recognised, because really why I was so even-handed is because my mother and my father were both from dysfunctional, violent family homes. So I was never under any illusion that it was the two of them. And one of the saddest parts of all this is, from my point of view, is seeing both the children coming in and the terrible damage that's done to both boys and girls. The idea that you can actually say that only boys are affected by domestic violence is actually ludicrous.
Or girls? Only girls?
Well, basically, no. As far as the radical feminist movement are concerned, and the refuge movement's concerned, it's the boys who are going to be potentially the perpetrators, and girls who are going to be the victims. Of course, that's rubbish. In fact, of course, both boys and girls are affected, and each child will actually what I call strategies for survival.
So I'm gathering that you do have, a tremendous amount of passion for women and mothers. Absolutely.
Yes, I do. And although almost immediately I recognised there was a need for men to have refuges, and I did get a lovely house in the north of London. So we were down in the west of London. This is up in the north. And the other thing that was bitterly upsetting is I had two millionaires who actually put money into the refuge. One was David Astor, who became my chairman, and the other was a man called Neville Vincent, who owned a huge building firm. They would put their hands in the pockets, their friends would put their hands in the pockets, but when I presented them with this project, so that men could also be parented and fathered so they could know how to be fathers, they wouldn't give me a penny. And this is the position now, isn't it? There is nothing for men. There are very few refuge facilities for men. Men are really, in a sense, not even considered. You know, in England we said a man's home is his castle. But I had come from a background where I knew what went on behind the front door. And I was determined that we had to do something about this. And as the women came in, the volunteers that I had left, understandably, because it was frightening. Some of the women were as violent as the men they left, and violent to their children, because they too, like me, had come from violent backgrounds. For me, the tragedy has always been, I have always said that generational violence is the problem. It isn't what happens in the streets that seeps into the home. It happens into the home, and then it moves into the streets. And nobody would listen, because we had this model of the patriarchy. It is what men do to women, and phrases like, all women are innocent victims of men's violence. So whatever she does, she's a victim. And if you say, yeah, but she stuck a knife in him, that's self-defense. No, it wasn't self-defense. Actually, he was leaving her for another woman in this case, and she killed him. She got off. You see, I think the tragedy is this: the damage has been going on for 40 years because no one's really challenged it. There is no challenging. And we've now got a situation which I find, I don't know how we can move it on. It's important to me that we stop this men hating women and women hating men and men giving figures for women and women giving figures. It's not about that. It really isn't. It's about, they now know that within the womb, babies are affected. Every cigarette you smoke, the baby smokes. Every drink you take, the baby drinks. The chemicals of rage, fear, and violence the baby experiences. The baby's born damaged. And we don't educate because no one's looking at this. What I want, I'm 74 now, before I die, is to see that this war, this gender war, is ended, and that we go back to the truth, and the truth has always been, it is generational violence from parents to children, and on, and this is where we need to be doing the work.